We have a special guest in our studio, Weatherford Mayor Mike Brown. Good morning.
Good morning, Todd.
So how was your Easter?
Really good. A great weekend. We kind of celebrated with family on Saturday. Had, I think, 36 people at our house for lunch and Easter egg hunts. And so that was a great day. And then yesterday went to church and then had the afternoon to kind of work in the garden, do some things like that. So a great weekend.
That was really cool. We went up to Yukon and spent the day with the in-laws. We actually went up Saturday and hung out. And my mother-in-law, Barbara Blackmore, was singing in a choir at their church. They go to Coventry Church in Yukon. So it was a really awesome performance, man. They had like 30-something people on stage singing. So
that's great. I think the churches were full.
Yeah, they were.
So that's good.
Maybe people will stay. It's Easter and Christmas.
Yeah,
it's where some people just come twice a year, but maybe something stuck with them. How much chocolate did you eat? How many Easter bunnies?
You know, didn't eat any Peeps. Didn't. Let's see. I did have some chocolate, so I didn't overdo anything. But I overate. On our lunch. But besides that, just a normal weekend.
That's awesome. Well, I got the ears off a couple of bunnies. That's all my wife and kid would share with me.
That's good.
So.
That's fine.
See, I got them Easter stuff. They didn't give me Easter stuff. That's good. Okay. It's okay. I understand. Well, let's talk about what's happening. Obviously, last week at the commission meeting, you talked about kind of redrawing the wards because population has grown in Weatherford, right?
Right. We're up to, a little over 12,000 people. And I think a couple of our wards had kind of got out of whack, if you will. I think Ward 1 had about 3,500 people. Ward 3 had about 2,500. So, we need to be around 3,000, in each one of the wards. So we wanted to make sure that we maintained, where the current commissioners live that stayed in their ward. But we had a group that came in and kind of redrew the lines, and we wanted to do that prior to our next election. So I think we got it kind of set up where, kind of built for the future. We know that Ward 1, which is kind of the northeast part of town, we kind of left a little room to grow there. So I think that'll be a good move for us, and kind of have, where everybody's representing about the, same number of people, the 3,000.
So Ward 1 is really where the population explosion has really gone. Obviously, new houses and stuff like that.
Right.
What's a ward that's gotten a little smaller?
Well, it'd be the Ward 3.
Okay.
Actually, Commissioner Warren Goldman sits there. It'd be the, kind of the older part of town, which would be, maybe to the southwest a little bit. So not quite as much, as far as any new homes in there. A lot of college students live in that area. So that one, had kind of dwindled down. So I wanted to expand that a little bit. And so I think we're in a good spot.
But when you redraw these wards, it's nothing so dramatic that it would move a current commissioner out, right?
No, that was, like I said, the first thing we looked at is, okay, we don't want to, eliminate somebody that's currently in office, and so we wanted to make sure that we kept them in there. And really all it is just moving a few streets, over one way or another. And, there is a new housing development that's going on south of I-40. So that is, we know that, there's potentially 60 or 70 homes be there. So, that could make a difference of 100 voters, that type of thing. So, just trying to take some of those things in consideration. And, I think we came up with a good map.
Well, that's cool. So that'll go into effect, and then the next election, which will come up next year.
Well,
or
actually,
is it 2 years?
there'll be a filing in June.
Oh, really?
We rotate. We have 2 commissioners 1 year, 2 commissioners the next, and then the mayor the third. So it rotates where you don't have everybody going, coming on or going off there. So actually, there'll be a filing in June.
Okay.
And so those people for like Ward 1 and Ward 3 will be up for re-election, which will be like in August. I think maybe is the when the election is for them to start actually January 1, of 28.
And that keeps it away from the general election when there's going to be like 8 million things on the ballot.
Exactly. Yeah. So it should be a good time for us to do it.
Okay, well, cool. Well, let's talk about what else is going on in town. Obviously, they've been doing a lot of work out at the Amazon site. Are they getting close to putting up walls?
They are. I think it was scheduled for last week, and they had a few situations come up because of the crane that they had out there. I guess that they had to get some okays from the FAA, the airport, that type of thing. And so we're hopeful they'll put the walls up this week or next, and that'll be exciting just to see the size of the building. And that they've been working really fast and hard, and hopefully will be completed by September. So excited about that new business being in town, and the people that it employ, and the activity it'll generate.
Have you heard about when they start hiring for that? I mean, will that be maybe this summer? Or?
I would suppose late summer.
Yeah.
I think that they're hopeful to open up, in September. So, I would suppose that 2 or 3 months prior to that. So, I mean, of course, here we are. I mean, this, we're here April, and so that probably the next couple of months they should start trying to get people that are going to work there.
It's just cool to see how fast it's going, because sometimes when companies say, hey, we're going to come in and build something, then they buy the property and then it takes 2 years before they start. But they started almost from day one. We signed the contract, boom.
They did. And of course, they had done a lot of pre-work. They knew that, once it's done, they were ready to go. And so, you're right. They started from day one, the first of the year. And like I said, they've had a full crew or several crews out there every day. And so a lot of work going on. And we were pleased they were able to use several local contractors along with that. So that's also a benefit to us. So, I think it's going to be something that's going to spur, other businesses to locate around them, and so you're kind of excited about that.
Oh, and not to mention more people it's going to bring to town. You already talked about how we've gained about 2,000 people since the last census, and they're going to add 100 jobs over there, maybe some people that are already in town, but you got to figure people are going to be moving in for that as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be a combination. And, one of the things that we've, certainly noted is, any large business like that, it's going to be great for all these small communities around town. And there's, when you look at, I look at the city employees, it seems like more and more of them are coming from Thomas, Hydro, Mountain View. A lot of these smaller communities around us, they need to go someplace where there's a good job. And so, we're getting people to, actually come and work here. They may not live here, but we certainly encourage those people. If they're good employees, we're glad to have them.
Well, that's awesome. And, of course, that's not the only expansion coming. You guys have been working on the new community center. Kind of what's the latest on the timeline for that?
Sure. We're meeting every 2 weeks on that. And by we, I'm talking about the city, the YMCA, the architects, the engineers, construction managers. So we're meeting on a regular basis. Where we're at right now is kind of getting the okay to go ahead and do a little bit of the dirt work, before we actually put everything else out to bid, so we can kind of get a handle on that, do all the testing that we need to do there. And then, as we move through the early summer months, then we'll kind of get to the, 60% of the plans done, 90%, and then 100%, and actually put it out to bid probably in October, thereabouts. And so hopefully, if we put it out to bid, somebody will be ready to start working either the last quarter or the first of the quarter of 2027 for sure. Going to be about a year to year and a half project. So probably be done, early 2028. Could be done by 2027, but doubtful. That was my hope, is to have it all done by the end of next year, but probably going to take a little longer than that. But it's really going to be a beautiful facility and something that will carry us into the future, I think.
Now, you said going out for bids later this year, and of course that's the big unknown, right? Because we know since this was passed, obviously construction costs have gone up, and so you kind of get a feel for what it looks like. And you've got some money. Will you be able to go ahead and start knowing that there's going to be some more fundraising down? What do? You take a loan, or you sell bonds, or what?
We definitely are going to move forward. To your point, the price has gone up about $10 million from what we originally planned. And so, saying that, and I'm just going to use round figures here, we think it's going to be about about a $40 million facility.
Okay.
We look at the money that we've got coming from different sources. We're at about $35 million. So we're still there's still some fundraising going on. We're still looking at different grants. We're doing things like that. So there's what the fear is that if it comes in at $50 million, so we've gone from 30 to 40, but and that hadn't been easy. But if it goes from 40 to 50, then we've got issues. So we're trying to do what they call the value engineering.
Sure.
Make sure that we're not overdoing anything, and of course we're also looking for the potential of growth down the road. And so, we're trying to take into consideration those things too, as far as, hey, if it needs to be added on to at a later time, that type of thing. But I think we've got a good plan. And actually, the construction manager said right now is a good time to be bidding things. People are looking, to be guaranteed jobs here for the future. And, I'm going to bring this up. It's just like the public school. When that bond didn't pass, those people, they were ready to go. And so they missed that one. So they're anxious for the next deal. So hopefully we'll get some good bids and competitive bids, and be right where we're planning.
Well, it's pretty incredible if you've already got 35 secured. So that's a lot better than I think we originally even thought. A lot of that has to do with the growth, right? Because sales tax numbers, when they climb up, that gives us more to put into the project. Right?
That helps. And, of that sales tax, we're counting on about 14 or 15 million of that going towards the project. And then we had some private funding. We got some appropriation funding from, Congressman Lucas helped us there with $5 million. And we've got several grants, some ARPA money still. We've got, of course, the potential sale of the old YMCA and that property. So there's still a lot of things that, and then, like I said, there's a capital campaign from the YMCA. And so, it's all coming together. It's just one of those that we're just moving forward. And I think it's all going to work out.
Put Heston Wright down for $5 million.
Yeah,
I haven't checked with him, but just go ahead and put that.
We've already got his name on the list. I'm not sure he's committed to the $5 million, but you know what? Wright Radio and Heston and Harold and their families are certainly people that believe in the future, and so they've been great as far as trying to support in every way they can.
Well, it's awesome. It's going to be an exciting project, and just another big thing that's coming to Weatherford. The growth continues, and it's just amazing when I look back and, growing up in Cordell and see how Weatherford has changed in 40 years. It's unbelievable.
Todd, just a couple of things, just talking about, great things. Had the opportunity to go through the Jerry and Margaret Hodge Rural Health Center, and that is unbelievable. A beautiful facility, and just thinking about the potential of being able to double the number of pharmacists, double the number of nurses, double the allied health people. So that's a huge deal, not for just Weatherford, but for all of western Oklahoma. And then on top of that, the new expansion at the Stafford Air and Space Museum, the new STEM. We were talking off air a little bit about the Artemis, the rocket launching, and we had 150 people out there to watch that event. And it was really an outstanding afternoon, and really made you proud of not only what was happening, but the place to watch it. And so, we've got some places that, we've always talked about Weatherford being a destination. We're not a big city, so we're going to be a little bit limited. But, I think when you look at the things that we're building, it certainly puts us in a great position.
Certainly does. Yeah, I want to talk more about Stafford, and then another big event that's coming up this week. We're visiting with Weatherford Mayor Mike Brown on the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show. Quick break. Back with more after this.
Horn Bible Academy invites you to their 62nd annual German Feast, Saturday, April 11th. Enjoy traditional German food and an online and live auction where you will find sports memorabilia, vacations, handmade quilts, and craft items. Bid on the online auction items at herdauction.hibid.com. Now through the 11th. Doors open at 10 for the bake sale. Lunch is from 11:30 to 2. The live auction starts at 1. Purchase meal tickets from CBA students online or at the door. It's the famous Horn Bible Academy German Feast, April 11th, 10 to 2:30 at the Clinton campus.
Committed to our youth, CK Energy offers a fun-filled 3 days and 2 nights at Youth Power Energy Camp. The contest is open to any 7th or 8th grade student that attends a school in CK Energy's service territory. 4 students or 2 teams will be selected to attend Energy Camp. Don't miss this opportunity, 7th and 8th graders. For complete details, visit www.ckenergy.coop.
CK Energy, we light up your life.
Deer Creek Market and Variety in Hydro, the best in friendly small-town customer service, hosting everything from fresh hand-cut steaks, fresh ground beef made in-house, along with fresh fruits and vegetables, grown and made in Oklahoma nuts, candies, salsas, pickles, and more. And don't forget to check out the Variety side, full of unique made-in-Oklahoma gift items. And now, treat yourself to the brand-new ice cream and coffee parlor, your new go-to spot for a sweet scoop or a fresh brew. Shop Deer Creek Market and Variety in Hydro.
Making memories on Route 66 at the Stafford Air and Space Museum. The Centennial Cruise rolls into the Stafford Air and Space Museum in Weatherford this April, and this is your 4th chance to get your name in the running for that Route 66 Suburban. Swing by all month long at 3000 Logan Road, then catch us live Saturday on the 25th from 1:15 to 5:15 as we broadcast straight from the action. We're talking vintage aircraft up close, photo booths, refreshments, and a whole lot of Route 66 magic in the air. Then mark your calendar, April 30th, we're going Facebook Live to draw our 4th contestant. Don't miss your chance to grab tickets for the Route 66 Big Band Hangar Dance, live music, dance lessons, and a night that feels like stepping into a time machine, but with better shoes. No purchase necessary to sign up for the Centennial Cruise Route 66 Suburban Giveaway. Making memories on Route 66 at the Stafford Air and Space Museum with Wright Media.
Attention veterans and handicapped folks, the experts at Priority Home Medical Equipment may be able to help you with new power chairs. Yes, which makes it easier to move around and get things done. A state-of-the-art power chair can make a big difference, so get one today by talking with your doctor or friendly medical equipment consultants at Priority Home Medical Equipment. Priority Home Medical Equipment, locally owned and operated by Tammy Shepard and Mindy Moore. Call Priority Home Medical Equipment today on Gary Boulevard in Clinton.
725, the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show. Joining us in the Shepherd Home Health and Hospice Studios is Weatherford Mayor Mike Brown. You know, we were talking about the Tom Stafford Air and Space Museum. Of course, the new event center is awesome. But of course, they're also working on the new education center and, of course, the playground expansion outside. How's all of that progressing?
Really good. You know, we've have an agreement with Starbase. They currently have 5th graders from all over Oklahoma that are coming in there, getting the training on STEM and all the things to do with that, and of course having more events out at the the whole museum. I think Julie, our director out there, said that we're up about 60% as far as number of visitors. So really active out there. The other thing that we're excited about is the new park.
Yeah.
Had the grandkids out there Saturday, and I think that it's supposed to be completed the latter part of May. But that's just another thing that's going to bring people to town. And of course, it's a great as far as hand in hand with the museum. The kids, half of them can be in there going through the museum, half of them outside playing or eating or whatever. So that's going to be something that we're all going to enjoy, but also people as they come to Weatherford. And I think it'll draw people from 30, 40 miles away to come, just to bring the kids to play. So it's good.
And don't you think, with all the excitement on the space program again, with Artemis going back to the moon, it's probably rekindled that interest from folks of our generation that grew up with Apollo, but then it's turning on a whole new generation of kids into space travel.
I think so. And, just as I experienced just watching that, that rocket launch, I was proud. Just one of those to see what was happening. It made me think back to General Stafford and the days that, that he was a part of that. And so, it's really special, I think, for people here in Weatherford that it's always been important to us, but I think maybe, like you said, it kind of rekindled something for people around the world. And so, I think that's going to help us out there as far as attendance also.
I know I'm going to be geeking out today. About 1:45, I think, is when they start the journey around the moon, where they start getting a close-up view and taking pictures. And I think it's going to be a 7-hour swing around the moon, they said. And there's only like 40 minutes where we lose contact with them when they're on the dark side.
Right.
But,
Well, that's fine. And, I think that, like I said, a lot of people will be keeping up with that, and certainly helps draw attention to our museum and the things going on there.
It does, without a doubt. Of course, another big event that we love every year, SWOSU Rodeo in town, starting Thursday.
We do. Yeah, I think they said there are between 600 and 700 contestants.
Yeah.
A lot of different schools that are represented. And, of course, Coach Mike V does a great job as far as getting all that organized. And so we'll have a lot of people in town. You'll see a lot of boots and horses. And, really it's a lot of fun, too, as far as just to go out there and really they're having events all day long, even though, the kind of the evening performances where they, the people show up. But it'll be a lot of fun. And I think this is the 52nd or 53rd?
Yeah, I think
annual,
53rd
annual, college rodeo. And so I take a lot of pride in that. And, you never know about the weather, but hopefully it'll be good. And we do have the covered pavilion, and I think they've got a few things planned there at the event center, so be a lot of fun.
So many people coming to town, not just the Cowboys and Cowgirls, but family members and fans from other schools and stuff. And so we fill up the hotels. Every restaurant in town is going to be full, too.
And we're fortunate. The Hotel Motel helps support, the college rodeo, as well as so many of the activities that are going around town. And so, that kind of allows us to continue to be the host that we are. And as you mentioned, if people come to town, they're going to spend some money, whether it be the hotels or the restaurants or filling up with gas. So it's a big economic impact for us, and so we're glad to host that.
Well, can't wait. It all gets started on Thursday. In fact, later on this week, we're going to talk with Coach Fee and some of the members of the rodeo team about the SWOSU Rodeo, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Well, Mayor Mike Brown, thanks so much for being a part of the show, as always.
Always enjoy it. Did want to mention one other thing.
Yes.
As we kick off Kiwanis baseball tonight. It's no longer summer baseball. Starts in the spring, so we've got a ball game starting out there tonight, and I think I'm working concession stand along with some others. But if you want to see something fun, go out and watch the kids. Play. Doesn't cost you anything to get in. And just encourage people to come out.
Well, I'll be seeing you in the concession stand because my son is playing his first game at 6. We got Red Tornado team coming in, so we got a little Custer County conflict
right off the bat. Okay, good. Good luck.
It'll be fun. All right, thanks a lot. Weatherford Mayor Mike Brown. Right now, time for news.
News from the Radio Oklahoma News Network. I'm Ann Roberts. The National Weather Service confirms 4 tornadoes touched down in Oklahoma during Friday evening storms. According to preliminary data from Surveying Damage, an EF1 rated tornado touched down near Oklahoma City Community College. OCCC remains closed today, but services and classes will be virtual today. An EF0 tornado formed just west of Dale. Another EF1 touched down just north of Shawnee, and a third EF1 touched down just northwest of Little, Oklahoma. As the 3-day filing period ended this past Friday, 5 Republicans, 1 Libertarian, and 1 Democrat filed to replace Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin in the U.S. Senate. The Oklahoma City Thunder scores a season-high 146 points and get a win over the Utah Jazz. The final score, 146-111. From the Radio Oklahoma News Network, I'm Ann Roberts.
Checking in on the Beef Checkoff. Join us today, Heather Buckmaster of the Oklahoma Beef Council. Heather, let's talk about 40 years of beef safety.
Yes, well, for 40 years, the Beef Checkoff has helped shape a stronger, more unified beef industry. Since its launch in 1985, the Checkoff has provided critical funding for promotion, research, and education, creating a clear, consistent message about beef and driving demand here at home and around the world. It has brought producers, industry organizations, and stakeholders together around a common purpose, protecting and growing the value of beef. One of the most transformative transformational impacts has been in food safety. Early checkoff investments in research led to breakthrough intervention systems, including steam vacuuming, steam pasteurization, organic acid washes, and hot water rinses. As industry leaders have noted, these advancements help identify and eliminate pathogens throughout the supply chain, saving the industry hundreds of millions of dollars, strengthening consumer confidence, and ensuring a safer, high-quality beef product for families across America.
Thanks, Heather. Learn more about your beef checkoff by going to drivingdemandforbeef.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
All right, 7:34. It is the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show. Beautiful Monday morning out there. Plenty of sunshine, 48 degrees. Got John Matthews joining us from the News Center. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, Friday was not so beautiful. I mean, it was a gorgeous day, but as everyone knows, when it gets hot and then it gets cold, that's never great. For Oklahoma, we decided to have a 8U softball scrimmage in Weatherford because we were right on the line of the beginning of the storms and just zero rain, which was fine other than, long story short, we had to be in Norman that night for a softball tournament on Saturday.
Oh, gosh.
So I was like, okay, we can do this. No problem. And sure enough, played the game. We left, and we looked at the radar, looked at kind of where everything was. I said, we're going to drive through a storm, but if we go fast enough, we can get in front of the tornado, and then we can cut down south on I-35 and should be fine. Like, timing-wise, it will work out. But then, yeah, all of a sudden, I forget, no human in their right mind, especially an Oklahoman, should know you don't go through more when there's a tornado.
Exactly.
Like, that's Oklahoma Rule 101.
Ground zero.
Yeah, like, what are we doing? That was dumb. But no, sure enough. So we get down there, and I'd kind of gotten in front of the tornado. So I was like, all right, we got this. Just cut south. We'll be fine. And we, when I say barely made it, all of a sudden we're pulling at the more Norman kind of spot, and our phone goes off, and then all of a sudden you can hear, they got some loud sirens.
Yeah.
You can, obviously they do this a lot. All the sirens just start blaring outside the windows. All of our phones are going off inside the car. And I kind of look at them. Okay, it was I-40 and 244. 35, excuse me, 244. And that's where we were about 4 minutes ago. So I said, hey, we made it. We're fine. Everything's fine. And then, I got back in and flooded. There were lots of rain, but everybody was safe.
Were they able to get the games in the next day?
No.
Okay.
No, we were completely rained out.
Yeah.
As there was I forget the name of that complex in Norman, but it's dirt and grass, and so it's not. But OU got to play that morning. So we had a lot of fans that were staying in the same hotel, and we got to hang out with them and talk to them, and had a great day with my mom and my sister, and kind of got to relax and enjoy Easter weekend. Well, Easter good?
Yeah, it was great. We were up in Yukon with the in-laws, had a lot of fun, and now we're back as Coach Mayor Brown was talking about first baseball game for Logston. So we have not done this since T-ball. We missed out on coach pitch, so we're playing kid pitch.
Let's go.
For the very first time tonight, we're playing the Red Tornadoes. Coach Ashley is bringing his team over. So
Custer County conflict.
It is, yeah.
Have you, to practice, Logston, you just started throwing baseballs at him?
Well, he finally got hit. The coach pitches a lot during batting practice, but the last few practices, we've had our regular pitchers pitch. And like most kids, not super accurate.
No.
Try to throw 1,000,000 miles an hour. So he finally got nailed in the hand. But I was proud of him. He just shook it off and he was okay. And the coach said, you're supposed to turn. Let it hit your booty or
hit the back.
your thigh, you know? Yeah, but because that was his biggest fear, is getting hit by the ball. Because until you've experienced it, and he got to witness a couple of kids got nailed over the last couple of weeks and were in tears. I mean, sometimes it gets you really bad.
Yeah.
So that was his fear, but I think he's overcome that. And we're going to meet early and do some practice in the batting cages today before the game.
Okay, so you guys going to win the league then, is what you're saying.
I think so. We're taking it.
Put in the effort. I love it.